Welcome, everybody, to Rebelle Rally Live, presented by Toyota. We are here at Base Camp 3. It is day 6, but it is the first day of our second marathon leg, and everybody is down in Glamis, California. But I am up here in Base Camp 3 at Soggy Dry Lake with Chrissie Beavis. She is filling in as my secondary co-host here because Matthew and Katie have been hanging out all day down in Glamis.
I know, aren't we jealous?
I am actually kind of jealous. I'm like, oh, my family is gone. What happened to all of my family?
Oh, I'm jealous of driving in the dunes.
I know. So day 6, of course, is brought to you by Total Chaos. A lot of us have Total Chaos on all of our personal vehicles. We've got some Total Chaos vehicles out here in competition. I've got Total Chaos on my 2015 Colorado, which actually helped me get a checkpoint on time the first year I did the Rebelle Rally because I had to power through some silty whoops, and I was able to get there fast and controlled.
It makes such a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, that suspension is night and day. We have it on our 4Runner, and that's what Matthew's out there driving today. And, man, I am bummed that I'm not out there driving it right now.
I know. Well, Katie caught up with Nicole Pitell. She, of course, is the main cheese over there at Total Chaos Suspension. So let's see what Nicole had to say when Katie had a conversation today.
So I'm here with Nicole Pitell on day 6 of the Rebelle Rally. And how does it feel to be sponsoring the Glamis dunes? Like, when you were 9 years old, did you ever imagine you could be sponsoring an event on these dunes?
No, beyond my wildest dreams. It's really fun to share the stoke for driving in sand in like just regular.
You're so infectious. Like, everybody wants to ride with you.
It's probably because we don't dig a lot. You know, we're just here to get the job done.
I'm certainly in the right vehicle because I'm not really into the digging part of this one. Now, this is a large dune. We're driving up it. We're just going to look for the teams.
We're gonna go scout and just do a little yee-haw, a little descent.
Wait, what? Wait, that's not... A little descent. Yahoo! Okay, nice. That was awesome. I reckon we could do that, Heather. How do we do that, Nicole? Give us some pointers.
Try not to suck is pointer number 1. Basically, you gotta use gravity. You gotta understand that the sand is constantly shifting below you. So you really have to have a feel for the vehicle, gravity, there's a technique to sand driving.
You certainly nailed it, mate. Hey, thank you so much. And you make everyone out here feel so safe. Like, without you guys, I don't think it would be the same rally. So thank you very much for everything Total Chaos does.
Well, on behalf of Team Total Chaos, congratulations to the entire staff of the rally for 9 years.
Awesome. Cheers, mate.
Thanks. Cheers.
So, Chrissie, I believe that you have actually competed with Ms. Chaos in other events. What is it like riding with her driving in the dunes?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And we were going through some of the largest dunes in the world in Morocco. Mm-hmm. And you've been in those.
Yes, I have.
And it was so fun. And it just made it so much easier to navigate when you have a driver that's very comfortable in the dunes and a vehicle that's as capable as one that's equipped with Total Chaos.
Yeah. I have ridden with her in the dunes as well, and what I love is she just rolls down the window and blasts the stereo, and she goes for it. She goes for every single thing with, like, no fear. And sometimes when I'm out there and I'm thinking about, like, what line would I take, I'm like, well, Chaos would just, like, bomb up that hill. And so if she can do it, then I can totally do it. And then I take off, and like maybe 75% of the time I'm successful.
That is hilarious. I think that if you ride with her more and more and more, you get just more comfortable in the dunes, and you just become actually a better driver in the dunes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when it's anything. When you're with someone that's comfortable doing a difficult skill, then you can just learn so much by watching how comfortable they are, where they put their eyes, what are they doing, how are they treating the vehicle, and then you just, it definitely made me a better dunes driver.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see, like, okay, this vehicle these angles are okay for this vehicle. This steep of a drop off is okay for this vehicle. It's okay to put my truck in some of these, what feels to me a very scary situation, as long as you know that you have the skills and the guts to drive it out.
Absolutely.
So, and that's what Chaos really excels at, especially when she's training people, is showing people and pushing them to really push their limits. And that's why I absolutely adore her. She has certainly pushed me, and I'm glad to have her in my life. Ha ha ha. That's my little bougie moment for right now. But earlier today, we had a long transit section out of Soggy Dry Lake into Glamis, and then teams showed up at their first green CP after mostly a pavement transit. And they're at that first green CP. They have to get ready for the dunes. And I think this was kind of a little bit of a it could have been a little bit difficult, because you've gone now on the pavement and you've kind of gotten like lulled into like, oh yeah, I'm just driving. Then they got to that first green CP at the corner of Gecko Road and Highway 78, and right there is where all of that stuff starts. All of those big dunes start.
Right. I mean, they just didn't do anything but drive on the road for three and a half hours this morning, and that means that the first teams out were signaling at that green CP at 10 a.m., which is pretty late in the day.
It's very late in the day.
You know, I mean, these teams have been used to us being down in Glamis, starting down there, and getting to go out right at 7 a.m. into those dunes. And the dunes are definitely easier to drive those first 3 hours of the day. By 10 a.m., they're starting to get hotter, they're starting to get softer, and those teams know that. And so, I mean, I'd be a lot more nervous starting at 10 a.m.
Absolutely. Well, we have some beautiful drone shots here of what is happening right here in Soggy Dry Lake. The wind has certainly picked up. That's why we're inside the tent, if you all were wondering. But let's see if we can get some of that footage down there at CP1 so we can see what teams did this morning to prepare their vehicles as they attempted to go out into the dunes.
Time out this morning, and so they just didn't have the time to plot a lot of their checkpoints.
Now, do you think navigators were plotting on the way there? I mean, they must have been, right?
I mean, I definitely would have been.
Yeah.
But it can be very hard to plot latitudes and longitudes and headings and distances in a moving vehicle.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, once you're there, and then you still have to get organized and decide, what are you going to do? You have to talk with your driver about what your day is going to look like. So even if you have those plotted by the time you get here, you still have a lot to do.
Right.
So you can see here where you've got to air down, you've got to whip up, you've got to put your dunes pass on. There's all of these different things. You've really got to prep your vehicle in a different way to drive in the dunes.
And, you know, when we have had a base camp down here in the past, teams could leave a lot of stuff that they didn't need to lighten their load. This time, they can't leave anything. They've got all of their camping gear. They've got all of their tools. They've got their spares. I mean, sometimes we would leave a spare. We would risk it and leave a spare because the chances of getting a flat in the dunes is not as much as getting a flat here in Johnson Valley. So you sacrifice a little bit of security for a little less weight.
Yeah, I mean, you can see here how much stuff they have
so
in the
much
back.
stuff. They've got like 500 extra pounds of ballast, and that can make a difference in some of these vehicles, especially in a vehicle that maybe isn't quite as high horsepower as, let's say, you know, the Bronco Raptors or the Wrangler 392. So they're going down there making sure that they are airing down. You know, when you air down in the morning, you always have to make sure that you go ahead and check later on in the day, because as the day heats up, as your wheels are turning, you're getting more and more heat into those tires, and you might have started the day at 12 or 15 PSI, and then, oh my gosh, you're at 22, right?
Yep. Yeah, and these teams are probably airing down, you know, I would say that 15 is going to be the absolute lowest that they're going to go on those, you know, in a stock vehicle. I like to start at 20, and then if I'm starting to get stuck, then I go down from there.
Right, because then you have some place to go.
Yeah.
I always am afraid of getting stuck, so I'm like, I'll go around to like 13 or 12 and just not turn my steering wheel. Well, it just depends. And listen, if you have bead locks, right, you can go lower if you've got bead locks, which is good. I don't have a ton of power in my vehicle, so I need all of the help I can get. Again, though, when you air down your tires, you get more rolling resistance, which takes a little bit more power.
Yeah.
So here we're seeing Shelby in Team 150. Now she's got this cool little thing where I think she can air down at least 2 tires.
Two
at the same
tires
time
at once. I've got one of these. It's an Indy plate.
cool.
I love that
Do
thing.
you love it?
Yep.
Can you
works
set it
great.
for what you want, and then you just boop?
You don't set it for what you want, but when you've got this much displacement, I mean, look how massive those tires are.
I know.
I'll just set it there and, walk around and do a bunch of other stuff and then come back and look at it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a minute or two to air those tires down.
Yeah.
You just don't want to go too long, and then you come back and your tires are flat.
Oh, right. And you're like, oops, my bad.
Only done that once.
Yeah. No, I'm really bad at having these kind of gadgets and stuff because I'm kind of cheap, and so I'll be like, oh, I'll just do my key. I'll just use my key, and I'll just do every single one. But this is a huge time saver, and they're spending time management is key and critical on this rally.
Yeah.
There we've got Rory looking at her maps, trying to get those heading and distances done. Now look at her; she's so fast. She's like getting her reading glasses on, and like, oh wait. She's got to clean her reading glasses.
No. I mean, this is a lot to deal with. And working in the car is
hard.
Not as nice
No.
as working out on these tables. I mean,
No.
you have to be super organized and keep everything really, really at hand in that vehicle, which is very difficult. I mean, she's so cramped in there, and she's trying to plot extremely accurately right now headings and distances and latitudes and longitudes, and it is difficult in a car.
Yeah. So, Chrissy, we've had some comments online about people are a little confused about the penalties. Can we talk a little bit about penalties and how they're assessed while we're finishing up here with Laura Wanless and Penny Dale?
Yeah, so there are a pile of different types of penalties that teams can get. The most well-known one is the wide miss penalty, right? So typically when you see a penalty for the team that you're rooting for over there and it's just a -10, that's probably going to be a wide miss.
Okay.
And especially with those top teams, you don't see them very often up there, but you just see that wide miss here and there.
Okay.
But that's not the only one.
Right.
We have a lot of 10-point penalties for on-stage mechanical recoveries today.
Okay.
So that's when you call up dispatch and you say, I need to get a tag out.
Right. We also have penalties for speeding. If you're going over one of our speed limits, look at this drone shot through the thing. Oh man, our guys are so good. I love it. But we have penalties for speeding, for on course assistance, and then we've got penalties for things that are more severe, where you could get DQ'd or you could get unranked. But most of the time, it's for wide misses. And wide misses are when you are far enough away from a certain checkpoint that it just we think that you've basically used it to help yourself out. And in order to get that information displayed on your tracker, we punish you guys for that by 10 points. You got to pay for it.
Yep.
It's not free.
It's a payment.
Right. It's a payment. The first couple of years, it was not a payment.
No.
We did it all the time.
No, yeah, we have a different system.
Different. As the rally grows, so do the rules. Well, let's take a look at the tracker and see where all of our teams are. We know we've got some teams coming in to their self camp, but this is them coming into the dunes this morning, right up there at the northeast corner of Glamis, the Imperial Dunes, the largest dune formations in North America. If you haven't been down there, you guys got to get out there. It is really, really fun. So driving through in Glamis, we kind of set Glamis up as 2 different kinds of dunes, right? There's the big rollers that are like easy to no, I don't want to say easy. Easier to drive. And that's where they are right now, on the west side of those dunes, right?
Yeah, the west side of the dunes is, kind of it's valleys, right? So you've kind of got some medium-sized dunes and some valleys over there. Then that's where most of the checkpoints are, because that's the super drivable stuff for a stock car. Still difficult. It can still be quite difficult, but it is doable.
So, and then when they come around on the other side of the dunes, those are what we call the shitty dunes, because they're just much harder to drive. They're smaller, which you think would be easier, but they're actually, no, they're way harder to drive because you can't get any momentum.
All the dunes are basically the size are smaller than the size of your vehicle.
Yeah.
And so because of that, you just end up in these tiny holes where half of your vehicle is in the hole and half of it is not.
Yeah.
And that high centers you and you get stuck.
Yep. It's terrible. It's terrible.
But if you think about it, we all think, okay, well, if you go out there in, a 4Runner or a Jeep or a Chevy, that's the type of vehicle that you're going to have out there. But those are not the only vehicles that are out there today. We've got the X-Cross is going into the dunes as well.
Yes.
They're going out there with Subarus, Kias, Hondas are going into the dunes.
Right. So let's take a look at them at Checkpoint 1 earlier today and see if they were getting ready and if they were prepping their cars or doing anything differently than we saw with the 4x4 teams.
Yeah, they're still going to be airing down.
Right.
They still got to do their whip flag.
Okay.
Right here, you see actually what they're doing right here is they are looking at a bulletin that I had to post this morning because we didn't put on the map a canal crossing. So at some point today, and when we look at the tracking later, I'll point that out. But there's a canal that they had to cross in the dunes, and there's a couple different crossing points, and we just wanted to let them know where those were to make that easier.
Yeah, when I saw that on the Mapbox animation today, I was like, I wonder if there is only one place where they can cross that canal.
There are multiple places, and so one is at one of the checkpoints, and then there's another one that we sent a latitude and longitude down there that we expect them to use.
Copy.
Yeah.
So even though all of the teams are here at this first checkpoint, they do disperse into different groups. So we have a group A, a group B, and then the crossovers go in group C. So just because we have everybody here kind of starting at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be following each other. However, teams can team up in the dunes, and that is partly for safety and partly just so that they can have someone to bounce ideas off of, because navigating in the dunes is very, very difficult. You can't just drive straight across them. You have to be able to take some headings, take some look around at your features, what features you have, the minimal features that you have, and being able to bounce ideas off of another team is very, very helpful. And it's great to have some help there. If you get stuck, you've got another team there to yank you out and vice versa.
Yeah, absolutely. And we definitely say that, 2 teams is fine. 3 teams starts to feel a little bit too much. And when you get 4 teams that are traveling together, it is just too much.
No, it's too much.
I mean, you can't fit that many vehicles up on one dune.
Yeah,
often.
it's too much. And then there's too many cooks in the kitchen. I mean, Rebecca and I were always kind of lone wolves in that way. But the few times that we teamed up when we had the Rolls Royce in X-Cross. We had the Cullinan in X-Cross, and we teamed up with Kara and Rachel. I miss both of you guys. I hope you guys are watching. And that was just a great day. And it actually made it really, really fun. But every time before that, we were kind of on our own. So there we see Melissa Fisher there in 200. That's the Bronco Badlands Sasquatch. They recovered really well from a broken, and when I say broken, I mean like hole punched in oil pan, which the mechanics went to Arizona last night to get.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
And
they got it fixed.
They got it fixed. They said once they had the part, it was installed in a half an hour, and the car was running within the hour.
Right. And and they're so lucky that they didn't do anything else to that engine.
I know, right?
It's just fine.
Well, I mean, Melissa's she's a very smart driver. She knows that, once you see a red light going on in your oil, like she's like, no, we got to stop.
Pull over.
Exactly. So in terms of crossover, these are lighter vehicles than the 4x4s. So you, Chrissy, what would you want to air down to in a lighter vehicle like this?
I would probably start at like 18 on these. I mean, one of the things about them is they're just a lower profile tire, right? So you can see this is so much smaller of a tire than what we were watching Shelby airing down. And there's just a lot less displacement, which is kind of nice when you're airing down and airing back up. It's much faster.
Yeah. The Bronco Sasquatch comes with 29-inch tires, which, I mean, that's big for a crossover. But when you consider the Bronco Raptors are running 35s.
Right.
Like,
that's a big difference.
That is just redonkulous.
Right.
There we've got, I believe, our current leaders in crossover, Mountain Subi in her very, very well-built Subaru. She's in a Subaru Outback, right? I believe she is.
Yeah, it is so nice, and it's well-built, and she is a good driver.
Yeah, she is.
And you can see that.
She is.
And we've got a couple of other good drivers that I actually did some training with in that X-Cross class earlier this year. And like Jackie and her Subaru, man, what a good driver. And it's so fun to see. You just kind of have to be a good driver when you're driving a vehicle that is just not quite as capable as the other ones that are out there.
Absolutely. Well, let's look at some standings for day 6. Now, not everybody is back at that, has clicked on their last green checkpoint. They were able to get a bunch of checkpoints at the end of the day out of order. So it's really tough to see what those daily totals are until their teams have clicked on that last checkpoint. But I do believe that all of our leaders are in to their final yes, that is
they're
A.
there.
Yeah, that's A.
They're there at that self-camp checkpoint.
Right. Okay. Sorry. I was like, wait, no, that's wrong, but that's correct. So most of our teams in Group A. So this should be our final total for the day with Nina and Terilyn coming in with 212 points. And then look at that, between second and third place, just divided by 1 point.
Yeah. That is tight.
Yeah, yeah. And fourth place not far behind. And then look at that. In fifth, Kristen Matlock and Ashley Biles.
Oh, my gosh. I was watching them today, and they were really going for it. They were just going to that. I mean, that first set of X checkpoints was out in those big dunes, and they just rocked it. And you could see them watch their track.
They've been kind of mid-pack the whole time. Kristen, of course, is a Polaris factory driver. She is a race car driver, which doesn't necessarily give you an advantage here in the Rebelle Rally, but she certainly does know how to drive, and she's used to being out there in tough conditions, and she's got the mental fortitude. And so it's great to see them have a great day out in the dunes, and we'll see what happens with them tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm so happy to see them.
Yeah,
they had a rough day yesterday.
Did they?
Yep. They do not like road books.
Oh, they don't like road books.
No, they don't. But it turns out that when you don't have a road book and you're just going cross country like this, that is their space right there. You can definitely see that.
Well, let's look and see what was happening in Group B. Again, these are different checkpoints, but still equally difficult to get to. But again, you can see that the scores here are not quite as much as what we've got going on in Group A. So basically what we're looking at here is the middle of the pack. But still, we've got teams getting in the high 68% of points gathered today.
That is hard to do.
It's hard to do.
Yes,
it really
and there
is.
were a lot of points. I mean, you can really see that there are just a lot of checkpoints people had to forego. And what you'll see here as we get down to the Group B in 4x4, what you'll see is that they just don't go for the black diamonds as much.
Yeah.
They're just not quite as confident on those ones.
Now, do they have to be at the green CP at the same time or by the same time, or do they have a staggered green CP closing time?
No, the green CP closing times are the same from your start time. So all of the closing times are always from your start time.
Okay, so
and today we had opening times too. Every now and then you might see an E next to like 190 has an E next to checkpoint 13. They got there early, and then they
clicked early
at it. Yes.
No.
And in this case, the couple of earlies that I've seen out there, they actually what happens is that if they click within the first 5 minutes, before their time, they actually get the points. And so you can see she actually got the points. The 20 is in black, so that means she got those 20 points. But she actually did get a 5-point penalty
for clicking early.
Now, if you click early and you sit there and then you signal again after your time, there's no penalty.
Oh, so they just took the 5-point penalty and then left. So maybe they didn't know.
I don't think they
knew.
Because
I would wait 5 minutes to get the full.
Absolutely.
Like, why wouldn't you do
Absolutely.
that?
And I think that both of the teams, or I think I only changed or had to apply that penalty twice today. But and that's something that we do manually in the scoring side.
Okay.
But those two, I think it was only 1 minute early.
Oh gosh, that's so
and you're just like, oh, come on, just look at the time.
Yeah,
ladies.
look at your watch. I know you're wearing a
look
watch.
at it, and it's on the tracker.
Yeah.
If they write it down, they would have seen it.
Yeah.
They would have seen it.
All right, let's go to our crossover group. That is Group C. Now, these are a completely different set of checkpoints. They don't go quite as far into the dunes, but they still go pretty darn far. Like, I've been in crossover, and I know it is still no joke for sure. So it looks like everybody is in except for Donaghy is not in. So Donaghy and Cindy Wade, they still have 20 points on the board there, which if they get it is going to bump them up to 170. Not quite enough to get second for the day. But look at that. Look at that. 200 and 204 are tied for the day.
Wow.
Holy macanoli,
That's
y'all.
hard. That is hard to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've tied, but yes.
Yes, you did. You did tie. You did tie. I was very surprised by that. Yeah, so you can see that they really just went for those blue checkpoints where they knew that they were going to get the points.
Yeah.
And they just kind of did not do most of those black diamonds. There was
Yeah.
that one there, checkpoint 18 there at the end that they both nailed. Those top two nailed that. But that's impressive that they both tied for the day.
Yeah. Now, the penalty there for Team 205, that has not been applied. So if they come back to their base, to their CP19 and they get 20 points, which puts them to 170, but then they'll have that 10-point penalty applied.
No, that 10-point penalty is already in there.
It's already in there.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's already
great.
in that total.
Okay, great. And I have a little tidbit for about 206. They were stuck at CP1 for a very, very long time today with a problem with their brakes.
That's what it was?
Yeah, that was the word on the street.
We were very concerned over in the scoring. We were like, what's wrong with their tracker?
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, no, they really are there.
Yeah, they were there for a long time. So they had some on-site mechanical assistance. But obviously they did get going again. They were able to get some checkpoints. So, I mean, listen, they've had a rough go at it this year. But I know they've just been in great spirits the whole time. They're kind of the miscongenialities of this rally.
That's good to hear.
Well, we do some special awards for that at the end. So
we sure
we'll
do.
See where
Team
we'll
spirit.
See where they end up. Again, please like us and follow us on the socials. We are at Rebelle Rally at Facebook interweb. Yeah, no, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter. And one thing that I wanted to address that we got on the as a comment on Facebook is a lot of you. You're wondering why we're not talking to everybody. You guys, we want to talk to everybody. We really, really do. We are keeping track of it. We have a huge 2 boards of all of the things that we're trying to mark off. The problem is all with timing. It's when our live show is, when they are in line. It's when we can get we have some stuff for you guys out on course today that Katie and Matthew shot. It's whether they were all in the right place at the right time, and we really, really try, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. So we're not ignoring them. Okay,
Yeah,
we
speaking
love
of
every
which,
single team.
Don't we have Matthew and Katie?
We
out there
do.
now?
We have Matthew and Katie with some stuff that they got today. I know they had a really good time out there bombing around in Glamis looking for teams. So let's see what who they caught up with.
All right, another midday hit here, day 6. I'm with Pam and Dana. What did you just tell me you were doing? You were the
Switchies. We're the switchies. Yeah, we're switching roles all week. So we've done about half driving, half navigation each.
Have you figured out one of you more adept at one or the other? Is there a reason you're driving here on sand day then, Dana?
Because I was the last one to do dunes training with Rebelle in September. So that's why. But she's done some driving today because I chickened out on some big dunes. So, it happens.
It's really tough. We've definitely gone for a couple and then just gotten totally lost and been like, okay, never mind, back to the pavement or back to the sand highway. We have no idea where we are. So, but we're good. I'm happy. We've only gotten 4, maybe. But that's good for us. That's good.
Look, it's just our job to share the experience and what you're going through here today. Did you consider teaming up with another team? A lot of folks have kind of done that. Obviously, it's legal today to team up with somebody else.
Yeah, so we helped a few people out. A few people have helped us out along the way. So we've been doing it ad hoc, actually, as we move through the various checkpoints.
It's great to chat with you two. We're going to leave you to it. Another midday hit, day 6 here down at Glamis.
So, Chrissy, I'm curious. They have switched back and forth, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Good strategy, bad strategy?
Oh, I think whoever is the most comfortable in that situation is who should be in that left seat.
Okay.
I mean, as a navigator, I've driven the dunes twice in Morocco, and I was the navigator the rest of the time, and I was the driver in the dunes.
Okay.
Because I was the one that was more comfortable in them.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty normal. A lot of people switch back and
No,
forth.
I don't want to navigate. I don't want that kind of responsibility.
Oh, no. No, I don't want you to navigate.
What? We've got some action from out on course today. This is just some general footage that I think is going to look pretty cool. Look at all that wind coming off of the dry lake here. That's what's happening right now. It's been a kind of a windy, blustery day here at Base Camp 3 at Soggy Dry Lake that is kind of drying up a little bit, which is nice, but it's still going to be wet for quite a while. I had to tell some people real people, not competitors, to not drive on the lake bed today.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
they
were going out on some side-by-sides, and I was like, hey, man, no. They had already been out. You could tell, they were just covered in mud, and I was like, yeah, it's fun. guess what? Messes it up for everybody. Don't drive on the lake bed.
Yeah,
And they were
that's
like,
terrible.
oh, okay. Like, they had no idea, you know?
What do they think happens?
I don't
It
know.
just flattens back out?
I don't know. But, you know, like, it's tough because you don't want to be like that jerk on the trail that's telling somebody to not have any fun. But at the same time,
You're
I'm
like,
trying
it messes it up for
you know,
everyone else.
employ, like, some tread lightly principles and educate some people.
Good for you.
All right, so we've got the 4x4s. We've seen them earlier gearing up, but now we have them out in the dunes getting some checkpoints. So let's roll that footage and see just how big these dunes really are. So that's the flag that you're looking for when you're looking for a blue checkpoint, and that's the big flag.
That's the big flag.
Yeah.
That's the big blue flag. That's not just the little pole there. And you can see here that we had one person kind of just walking up to the flag, you know, and you can't always park right up next to the flag. Sometimes that's higher up on the top of one of those
And you don't
dunes.
want to park right up on the flag because then you show other people where the flag is.
Well, that's true.
And I'm not doing that. So look at that valley right there. That is pretty cool.
That is a nice, easy place to drive.
Yeah.
When you see that vegetation, you know that there's some harder sand there.
Yep.
But it's so hard to tell out here in Glamis all the time where the soft sand is. Just because it's lighter in color doesn't mean that it's softer, and just because it's darker, you might get into some dark stuff that's still very, very soft. I was just out here a couple of weeks ago training, like 103 said, for the Rebelle U. We had them out there in the dunes, and we were training them. And, man, was it really soft.
Now, that looks like the RAV4. Team 207, I believe. Is that the RAV4?
Well, they look
But
like
they
might
look like
be
they
stuck.
were stuck.
We've definitely got the Max tracks.
But
out
she
there.
was bringing the Max tracks from up the hill. And they also have at least 2 Max tracks on their hood, on their roof, if not 4.
That's true.
So I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but it looks like they're parked on flat ground here. But we saw from the earlier shot that they're definitely on some kind of a side hill a little bit.
Yes, they are.
So yeah, generally when you stop in the dunes, if you're actually doing it on purpose and not getting stuck, you want to stop on a place that's either flat, but preferably on more of a downhill, so that you can use gravity to your advantage. And then we can see that one motorcycle track right there going by. And every time I would see a single track like that, I'd just be like, Jimmy Lewis
Going out there,
has
setting
been
those blue
through
flags.
here, and he has just made my life a living hell. Jimmy Lewis.
Out there, when he takes very good care to come around the backside and to go a crazy way to set those checkpoints. He never just drives straight.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? This can't. If these are highlights from 4x4, this cannot be 207. This can't be the RAV4. So it might be. It's definitely a Toyota product. I just can't tell exactly which one it is. Maybe one of the Sequoias. It's tough to get in there to get the number. There, of course, is our Ford Ranger Raptor and one of our Ford Broncos working together in the teams. Working together in those dunes, Laura Wanless and Penny Dale, and then Bailey Campbell and Sedona Blinson. That's a pretty good team up there.
That is, and I'm sure that they really appreciated having one another out there today.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, both of them probably very comfortable in this.
Oh,
dune
absolutely,
complex.
So you can see they've got a valley there on one side, and it's tough to tell on the maps that there are these valleys that kind of run north-south in between those big dunes. But once you find it and you're like, oh, this is amazing. I can just drive through this very easily, go up into the bigger stuff, hit one of those checkpoints, come back down into the valley.
Yep, and that's really the way to do it.
Yeah.
But we actually had some checkpoints, if you guys are going back on watching over tracking, that kind of just went point to point to point. And if you drove a fairly straight line between those, then that was going to kind of be the best one.
Yeah, it's tough to drive a straight line in the dunes. And, because you are kind of zigzagging back and forth, your odometer is never actually correct. You have not gone as far in a straight line as your odometer says. So you have to compensate for that. Might be like maybe 25%, maybe 30%, depending on how zigzaggy you've gotten. You also have to account for wheel spin. If you've been out there spinning your tires, maybe you got stuck or something happened, you've put more. Well, if you have a wheel probe, and now a lot of people are doing it.
We
have
GPS
a different, We do allow Terra trips with GPS. That doesn't help them with navigation.
No,
it just gives them an accurate odor reading.
It won't have the coordinates on there, but
Right.
it helps them with their coordinates.
Right.
But it doesn't. it doesn't work very well in like trees and canyons.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that it can be a risky thing to have.
Now, that 129, that is a Jeep Gladiator Mojave. And what's kind of cool about that, that is Jeep's answer to a Go Fast Jeep. Granted, it's not as fast as a Ranger or as an F-150 Raptor, but it does have these cool jounce bumpers in the front. So you get a little bit more support in the front. You don't stuff things in to any kind of whoops or getting into any kind of problems that you might have with that. So I really like the Gladiator Mojave is kind of my favorite trim. I'm not much of a rock crawler. I'm more of a go fast person, so that would be my go-to. Of course, it still has a rear locker, which is really awesome, and I'm pretty sure it still has a front locker as well. So you can still get out there pretty good. Looks like they are. Well, they went right by that blue checkpoint. Maybe that wasn't theirs, and they knew enough to know that that was not their checkpoint. Oh, wait, are they stopping there? It's always tough to tell because those, 129, they are fierce competitors, and they are not going to give away anything as they compete here in Glamis. So that does look like that was their blue checkpoint. Nina's going to get out. She's going to click really fast while Terilyn is finding their next point. And you can see that valley right there. It just goes in between those big dunes. There might be some bigger stuff in between, but by and large, those valleys are pretty easy to drive. Although you want to make sure that you're driving in the right way, right? Because the wind is coming in a specific way, and it's going to put a razorback on one side and a shoulder on the other. So you have to be careful. If when in doubt, go out and scout, and then throttle out. That's what you should do. Now, the way these two navigate as well, Nina will take a lot of headings for Terilyn, so Terilyn doesn't need to get out of the vehicle. Now we've got a bunch of cars that are driving next to the canal. I've actually never been able to drive this close to the canal. We've just never had any checkpoints there while I was competing. But like Chrissy said, there are only a few places to actually cross, so they needed to know exactly where that was. You'll notice their Team 150 is up on a dune looking out over those flats, which is probably over the canal before they go into that. Having that higher vantage point is great because you can just see more of what's going on and you can plan your route a little bit easier. Again, drivers getting out sometimes to take headings so that their navigator doesn't need to get out. I mean, you guys, when you've got your map board and you've got your pen and or your pencil and you've got your compass, try the navigator having to move all that stuff around to get out just to take a heading. No, let the driver do that and communicate that information back to the navigator. That's a much better use of time. You figure, 10 seconds for the navigator to get in and out of the car piled up over the day, that could be 5 minutes. Whereas it's much easier for the driver to get in and out of that vehicle. You could save a little bit of time, and that might save you at a checkpoint. We've had people be late on checkpoints by just 1 minute. Yes. Oh, welcome back, Chrissy. Hi. So this is really cool being able to show these highlights from Glamis today. I mean, I love being able to see exactly where they were and what they were doing, and it was so hard for me to be back at base camp today. It really was really hard. I kind of miss it. So being able to see them, I'm like living vicarious through them, and now I'm like, I gotta go to Glamis next week.
Oh, are you going to?
Well, no, because next week is Camp Razor, so it's going to be super packed. So I will wait to have a little bit more privacy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, right now it doesn't look like there's very many people out there. I mean, if you see in these reels, these women are out there all on their own.
Yeah.
I got to say, the first time I was in big dunes like this, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die out here. The vultures are going to pick my bones. I'm never going to get out of this. I don't know what I'm doing. How... I'm
laughing with you.
I had a tracker on me, and I was like, nope, there's no way they can get to me. That's not going to happen.
Rebecca and I one time, we thought that we were really cool, and we tried to cross the dunes from west to east, which we know not to try to do in a stock vehicle. Mm-hmm. We know that maybe you can do it in a side-by-side stock vehicle. Don't try it. And we did, and we were by ourselves, and it was September, and it was like 120. We were in a diesel Jeep Gladiator.
Sounds
it was great.
Idea.
It was great. Ask us how long we got stuck. Oh, quite some time. We were lucky. We had more than enough water. We had some food. We had air conditioning. But the thing I learned from that, what I should have done was I should have gotten out, and we would like max tracks, move 2 feet,
Yeah.
get back in, cool off, dig, max tracks, move 2 feet because we were just like stuck in a bowl. And what I should have done was gone down and aired down to absolutely 0 just to get out of that one section and then air up a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And now I
Yeah.
know. Now I know.
Oh my gosh, I love those dunes. Those parts where there aren't the bushes, where you're just kind of on those big open rollers
Yeah.
that we see every now and then.
Yep. So there we're back to our soggy dry lake, windy dry lake today. Again, day 6, you guys, has been brought to you by Total Chaos, which has been a really great way to showcase those parts. But we've got a ton of footage from Matthew and Katie from what they took out on course. So let's see what adventures they got into today.
We've just hunted down Susan and Elise here, and they were out of their vehicle, so I know you're really in a rush.
We are.
But tell me, how's your day going, really quickly?
It's just been really challenging, but we're tough. We're a good team.
Yeah.
We pick each other up when we both get down.
I can tell that you guys are great together. And how's your third teammate doing today?
Oh my God, the Ineos is amazing.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. So we are very lucky because for a lot of competitors, they would be doing a lot of backtracks and digging, and we can lock the rear and front diffs and get into 4-wheel low, off-road mode, proper air temperature, and we just float out. And I think it's because it's really got a very nice steady throttle and it just lifts.
So you haven't had to use your max stretch?
We have.
We have.
3 times already.
Whoops.
3 times. But here's
But
the
a
thing.
couple of times we didn't have to.
Yes, a couple times we didn't. So yes.
Okay, so those are those moments. Thank goodness we didn't. Okay,
Correct.
great. Hey,
Yes.
thanks for taking a
You're
minute. We'll
welcome.
see you back, which we won't see you back at base camp because this is another marathon stage and the competitors will be camping here, self-camping at Glamis.
So I have not actually seen a lot of those Ineos Grenadiers out on the trail. I've seen them like in Los Angeles, I've seen them in the city, but I haven't seen a lot of people actually taking them out because I think they're so pricey that they kind of appeal to the mall crawler crowd, but they seem to be super capable.
Yeah, I think it is a very capable vehicle, and as it goes on and there's more and more of them out there, I think we'll start to see them more and more actually out on the trails.
Cool. All right. Well, we are going to pop out to a commercial here really fast. Please stick with us. We've got more stuff from Matthew and Katie out on the course, as well as some highlights from today, day 6, brought to you by Total Chaos. We'll see you in a second.
And now your action weather broadcast. We've got shifting weather conditions on the horizon. Expect high winds, scattered thunderstorms, cold fronts, and dense fog. It's a wild one out there.
Toyota trucks. Let's go places.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Rebelle Rally Live, presented by Toyota. I am Emmy Hall, and my co-host today, very special co-host, is Ms. Chrissie Beavis, the head scoring judge. And we are on day 6, which is brought to you by Total Chaos. That is the first day of our marathon leg, and the wind is blowing like crazy outside, and empty base camp, and it's really weird.
It is weird to have such an empty base camp
I
and
know.
such interesting weather.
I know. I'm glad
at the
that,
same time.
look, I got my goggles and everything, so I'm all ready to go. But Matthew and Katie, they've been having a great time today, bombing around in the dunes and talking to some teams. So let's see what Matthew and Katie were able to get for us earlier today.
We finally made it down to Glamis, and the name of the game down here, I think, is teamwork. And this team has teamed up with another group. Tell us your strategy on teaming up.
So 2 years ago, when we were both rookies, right, we teamed up and we found that together we can be stronger and more confident and find the checkpoints together. It makes a lot more sense. Put our heads together, right, Jill?
Yeah. And they helped dig us out 2 years ago, so we trust them.
Perfect. Have you gotten stuck yet?
A little teeny tiny one. It was easy.
All right. Well, good luck out there, ladies. Yay, Max Tracks for the day. Thanks, guys.
Yay, Max Tracks. Yay, Max Tracks.
Yay, teamwork.
Yeah, for
yay.
sure.
I mean, when you got 4 people and you got 4 tires that are stuck,
Yeah,
it sure is much, much faster
To have-
to have
4
those
people.
teams. Yeah.
Yeah, so Chrissy, but why, like, how is that allowed? Let's talk about it a little bit, that they can help each other in the dunes.
Yeah. So one of the tenets of rally in general worldwide is that teams can help each other.
Okay.
So that is just kind of typically allowed, and even, it's kind of just something that they do. And so that's part of it in the dunes. And while we're not allowed to follow and help, find checkpoints for other teams generally, in the dunes, it's just safer. And it's also almost, really kind of necessary to really just nail some of those things when you don't have a lot of experience. And so some of the most experienced teams might be going out there on their own. But, remember that time in Morocco we teamed up?
We did team up.
We did
I
team
know.
up for a
You
day
guys
through the
were in the
dunes.
Morocco Taco, and I was in a diesel Defender.
Defender, yeah.
And that thing was able to go up like 95% of the things that supercharged 4-liter Morocco Taco went up. And I was like, go me. I'm pretty rad.
That's so true. And when you can see someone go up and over something in front of you and be like, oh, now I see what it's like in the dunes. I mean, one of the hardest things about driving dunes is that you just don't have the visual that you typically have in other terrain. And so it can be very difficult to determine how steep something is, what it's like on the backside of something. And if you've got a vehicle that's a little bit more capable than yours doing something in front of you, you can watch it, and then you can say, yep, I can do that as well. And so teaming up in the dunes is definitely something a lot of the teams like to do.
Absolutely. Well, we have some discounts from some of our Rebelle Rally partners here. One of them is Fox, 30% off. Use code Rebelle30, but that's only through October 20th. And honestly, I need some new shocks for my Baja Bug, and every day I'm like, you need to order those, and every day I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to do it again.
Order
so
them. Set your
after this
alarm.
is done, I need to go order shocks for my Baja Bug so that I can do the Rebelle Rally next year, because I got to rebuild the rear end in that car.
Wait, you're going to do the rally next year?
Yeah, I want to.
Great. That's
I want
awesome.
to. All right, Matthew and Katie, let's roll and see what kind of hijinks they got into this time.
Hey, look who I found. How's the honeymoon going?
It's going fantastic. Just ran down the hill. We got stuck up on the top, but then she kept going once we got the Max Tracks in, and then she left me, so started running down the hill, but we made it. So
Excellent. How's the driving been?
Honestly, it's been so good so far. I just don't want to jinx it. The only thing was we were doing this in 2-wheel drive because we were trying to conserve fuel as a part of our strategy. We put it in 4-wheel drive, and it's surfing on sand.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad that you finally made it to the beach for your honeymoon. And these two are just having the best day. Hey, we'll see you guys back at base camp. Thank you. Great to catch up.
I love it when teams, like, they think they're not going to do that great, and then they do really well, and they're just like, oh, go me, I'm so rad.
I know, and those two are rad. Those were the rookies of the year from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and they're doing really well, and and I'm so happy to see them doing well again this year. They really trained a lot.
Yeah.
And they wanted to just get better and better.
Yeah, they're part of our Toyota teams. They both work at Toyota as engineers. And, you know, sometimes engineers just sit behind the desk and do math and sciencey things, and it's awesome to see them out here using the products as Toyota has intended it, because they can bring that information back and then just make Toyota products even better.
Yep, that's how they're. I mean, all of the Toyota teams are just so lovely here around base camp. They're some of the,
they really are
the favorites around here.
They really are.
Yeah.
Well, let's look and see where our teams are camping tonight. We do have some members of our staff that are there, but they are camping pretty far away. Everybody else, all of our competitors, are together in one place, and they will be camping out on the east side of the dunes in what we call the washes. Well, I mean, everybody calls them washes. It's not just us, because they are indeed washes.
It's very interesting what you can kind of see in this tracking image in that satellite is that the wind is often coming from the west, but then the water comes from the east and and it brings the water and brings that sand back to the dunes.
Yeah.
And that's why that dune complex is sitting right there.
Well, I think that's a live shot of where we are now, but I think Katie and Matthew have got some stuff from us actually at the camp. So let's see where they're at and what's going on.
Thanks, Emmy. I'm here with Team 146, Amy and Charlotte, and she has her emotional support mallet. It was super cool though. They just rolled in a moment ago and pulled up to Mama Hohen and Dana Sexton and asked a little advice about self-camping. So how have you felt the vibe has been with more senior Rebels in terms of helping you out and making you feel comfortable in your first year?
They've been great. Everybody's been really happy to help. You got to get them at the right time. Like first thing in the morning while everybody's plotting is not the right time to ask for help. So
I get there too.
Yeah, that's a thing to learn as a rookie. But otherwise, everybody's been really willing to answer whatever we need.
And how was your day today?
It was really good. I think we did well.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Dunes are a little intimidating, but we did very good.
Dunes are really intimidating. Like I've said 1,000 times today, you just cannot explain to people how big these dunes are. Where are you guys from?
We're on the East Coast, so like we don't have things like this where we live. You
can't explain it.
No.
Nobody at home will understand when you show them a photo.
We
not
live in
remotely.
Maryland, so no, there's no dunes in Maryland.
Well, lucky we have the most epically talented drone pilots. So when you get home, wait till you see the footage of your vehicle and you competing in the Rebelle rallies. Tongue-tied. Back to you, Emmy.
Thank you, Katie. So we've got over 60 teams here, and we've got a ton of rookies.
Yes, we do have a lot of rookies this year, and not just full team rookies, but a lot of rookies that are sitting with someone who's been to the rally before.
Yep.
And so we actually have kind of more rookies here than it's automatically apparent.
Right.
Because even though a lot of teams don't have the rookie badge, one of the teammates is actually still a rookie, and this is their first time.
That would be really hard. Well, we do give away a Rookie of the Year award at our podium finishes that's going to happen tomorrow, or actually on Saturday, but we will know tomorrow. But speaking of giveaways, we have giveaways for the folks at home. Just go to rebellerally.com/giveaway. There is over $5,000 of stuff that we want to give to you, including 5 Pirelli Scorpion AT tires. We've got swag from the Rebelle Rally. We've got stuff from Deadman Off-Road, all kinds of great products from Rebelle Rally partners. So go to rebellerally.com/giveaway and register to get some of that cool stuff. Now we've got one more hit, I believe, from Katie and Matthew at camp down there in Glamis. So let's see who they've got talking to down there at the self-camp.
Go. Thanks, Emme and Chrissie. I'm glad to see you co-hosting, Chrissie. This is great. So we're having a blast out here at the setup of camp. I've been cruising around. We've been trying to talk to Rochelle and Melissa from Team Roaming Wolves all week. They've had a week, and they're having a nice evening setting up for camping. Rochelle, what would you say about your experience so far, and then what kind of day you have in the dunes today?
This week has been rough. Maybe one of our roughest years, actually.
Actually,
yeah.
Even rougher than 2020,
Cranky is
I think.
super cranky.
She's super cranky this year.
But today was awesome.
Yeah.
And our best Glamis day, we got the most checkpoints we've ever gotten, probably. And we went farther
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 in than we've been before, so
Yeah.
that was really cool.
So it was a good day.
So, I mean, it's been a really hard week, and I don't know, like it's like Emily says, like there's a reason the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror, and that's really hard to learn at first. Like you get stuck in like being pissed and feeling frustrated a lot. But I don't know, like we've done this enough, I guess, and been frustrated enough that it's like it doesn't do any good to stay in that bad place. So just like pull yourself out however you can. Like laugh. Yeah, we laugh a lot. Yesterday, Cantoy Divas gave me a Tootsie Pop, and I swear to God, that turned it around. I don't know why. It was a Tootsie Pop moment, so I don't know. Like you gotta get over it and like keep moving because it is fun. Like we're out here playing a game.
It's type 2 fun.
It's type 7 fun sometimes. I don't even know what that means, but it's like really hard.
Well, look, I know we have to keep it quick here. Team Roaming Wolves has really been leaning into it this year. We've covered the trope of the idea of like, this is a challenge, and you learn a lot about yourself and your teammate every day out here, and no exception here with Team Roaming Wolves. Thanks. Back to you, Emmy.
I love that Bronco so much.
I know,
and I love them so much.
It is so cool.
They're such a great team, and I want nothing but the best for them. And every year it seems like, I mean, it's such a challenge bringing in a vintage vehicle.
It is. But, you know, I got to say, they look very relaxed tonight. And I don't know, maybe it's just because it's the self-camp night. Maybe they don't know how windy it's going to get tonight.
Oh, that's right, because the wind going to blow tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember that these ladies do not have access to those phones to watch the weather. But it is going to be very windy. As windy as it is here right now, you can see right here, like, look at those flags. It's going to be that windy for them tonight.
Yeah,
in their tents.
Those tents are going to be flapping in the wind. And I don't know about you, but when my tent is like, it is so hard to sleep. And tomorrow is going to be a very, very big day. Tomorrow is the end of the Rebelle Rally, the final day. And our shows are actually going to be a little bit different. We've kind of had a good schedule going on here, a good rhythm, but we're going to switch it up tomorrow. Our first morning show is not going to be until 10 a.m. And I don't know about the rest of the crew, but I'm a little happy to get to sleep in just a tiny little bit. So our morning show will be at 10 a.m. That's just to give a little bit of just to get some footage for you guys and queue up some footage because they'll be leaving. They won't have a finish line or a starting line like we normally do. Normally, we've got a later time. Right now, we're planning on a 2:30 start time for our Day 7 finish here at Soggy Dry Lake, but it might change, okay? So it just depends on when competitors get here. We're not 100% sure, but check with us at 2:30. We might push it back to 3. We're not 100% sure. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me, Emmy Hall, here at the Rebelle Rally Live, presented by Toyota. I am here with
Chrissie Beavis.
It's
been really nice to be here.
You say the name. All right, thank you so much. Oh, and Matthew and Katie have got something to say as a goodbye. Let's see what they've got to say.
We miss you guys
so much, and we have so much navigators and videographers. We've had a hell of a day. We've had a lot of fun, but we don't like it when the family's apart. We'll see you tomorrow night, guys, for the finish line, and we miss you big time.
Nice job on the show.
Have a reputation of durability and reliability. So why would you try and perfect perfect? Because here at Total Chaos, we also have a reputation. For 25 years, we've specialized in handcrafting the most durable, performance-based off-road suspension systems, making the best even better.
Good morning, commuters. Looks like we got traffic backed up for miles. starting with a downed tree blocking East Avenue and a broken water main causing a bottleneck on the westbound lanes. We've got weekend travelers flooding the turnpike, meaning it's bumper-to-bumper traffic for the foreseeable future. I'd get comfortable. You might be there for a while.
Toyota Trucks. Let's go places.